So I'm super duper excited about this. We have Shalana Smith from the Family and Children Association um, here at our second edition episode of the Special Conversation. So let's welcome Shalana.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
So I guess the goal today is to just have again, open and honest conversation about parenting, life, the impact of culture in different cultures in the space. So, can you first just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what the Family and Children Association is, and what you do there?
Okay. And so Family and Children's Association has been around for over 100 years.
Wow.
It's like, even when I say it, I'm like, what? And it's like over 130 years.
Wow.
And we've been pretty much catering to youth and families across Long Island. And now during the pandemic, we're pretty much worldwide because
Wow.
of our stretch and working remotely. And the telehealth has allowed us to, service people in different states and cities. So that's one of the positive things about the pandemic. And so, speaking on Family and Children's, I I have this kind of quote where we kind of service everyone from the womb to the tomb, and so they have nursery services and definitely senior services to help them with recreational counseling services, and definitely family respite services as well.
Wow.
We also have services that help youth with education and training, vocational training, scholarships, and that type of training as well. And so, other than that, I'm a clinical prevention counselor. So I've been servicing the Hempstead and Long Island community for 5 years. And so, what I do is individual counseling for youth ages 11 to 21.
Wow.
And then we also give our parental support to our parents.
In your opinion, is it? I just feel like mental health can delve directly into income. Right?
Oh yeah,
'Cause if
poverty
you're
is
stressed
a
about
number
your,
one
yeah,
indicator in stress for sure.
because you're
And
impoverished. How the hell are you supposed to be not necessarily happy but pleasant,
how do you give life
thoughtful,
when you're
deliberate?
Yes.
How does an impoverished person dealing with all these issues come home and be straight?
Right.
How does that happen?
And how do they be strong? And so and that's where the defenses come back, and where that failure cycle comes in if that parent is not getting their self-care in. We encourage that self-care, and it takes a lot to balance work and different things and children as well. And so we really encourage to get your own therapy, because your childhood, these cycles and things that you've been through comes right back in your child.
Yeah, and I think that, and I said this previously, I always say this, is I think that most people of color strongly encourage to seek therapy, right? Or do therapeutic things, because again, it's cognitive dissonance. We normalize problematic situations and don't even recognize or give it any weight. So, single family household, it ain't no big deal. I could figure it out by myself. It ain't nothing. It's okay. I got this. When really it's like there's trauma there, right? Because it's not supposed to be like that. You start to take on this, I can do it my way or the highway, and the kids end up taking that stress.
They internalize
trauma,
it. Yeah.
And they bring it to school.
It's all a defense mechanism, really.
Yeah.
People are only doing things to protect themselves. Like,
Yeah.
Active parenting, they talk about the 4 goals of children, of their acting out behavior, quote unquote acting out, because whenever they act out, it serves a purpose.
Yeah.
And so, I'll touch on those 4 goals. The 4 goals that Dr. Popkins talks about is, power. Power could be one. It could be a power struggle that's going on where the child feels hopeless or feels like things are out of their control. And again, I try to kind of relate it back to the pandemic and what's going on. A lot of I'm triggered, and so if an adult could be triggered, a child could be triggered as well because they're already like out of control of their lives.
Yeah.
And so this has put another aspect on, them giving them, restrictions on their lives. And so, the unknown of not knowing what's going to happen could be very, anxiety provoking for me anyway. And so just imagine a kid. And so whatever we go through, the child is experiencing as well. And so trying to have more family meetings and things like that. But
special conversations.
Hello. And so special conversations and trying to collaborate with different people that may know a little bit more about what you need some help on. That's where a family meeting could come into play. And
now explain what a family, because a lot of Black folk don't do family meetings.
Right.
So can you explain what a family meeting is?
And the family meeting could be, it doesn't have to be scheduled. It could be random. Sometimes it just happens,
So crazy,
during dinner or whatever, we end up talking. It's a moment where we end up talking about things that are happening in the family, age appropriately,
kids involved, everybody.
We want to involve the kids because we want them to help us with consequences. And consequences don't always necessarily have to be negative. Consequences could be positive as well. So what happens when you continue to do well in school? I don't you know what also? And kids start to expect stuff. They say, Dad, last time, I did extremely well in school. Right.
And I think that confidence, it allows for you to go out into the world and expect things from your employer.
Yes.
You expect respect from your friends.
But we don't want to make it material all the time.
But it could just be,
it could be different positive consequences. It could be just cooking your favorite meal with us, just us two. If you think about your time that you spent,
with kids,
you remember those times when you cooked or you played and you just. We kind of encourage the one me time, and me time is at least 10 to 15 minutes where it's just you enjoying your child and no judgment, no criticism, just letting them do what they want to do, but your presence there. And it means a lot. It really does mean a lot.
What are your thoughts on positive and negative reinforcement?
Yes. And so again, that negative reinforcement or the consequences, it doesn't have to be physical, reprimanding. It could be removing items, right? It could be taking away different times. So you really have to get to know your child and get their feedback as well. So what do you think should happen if this continues to happen? Yeah. And they'll tell you, well, I don't know, maybe you could do this, maybe this.
You're right. They will exactly do that.
And so another thing that they talk about in the active parenting curriculum is creating like a joy job jar. And
joy job jar.
And so the joys are all the positive consequences. So it might be a hug, it might be cooking your favorite meal, it might be just going to the park on a Friday, or just hanging out, or maybe having a sleepover, social distancing, but different things like that. Doesn't have to be material. Doesn't have to be the Jordans, right. And then the negative things could be, removing privileges, because rights and privileges have been very skewed with children and parents. And so, it's not a right to have a cell phone or a PS5. Right?
It's
a privilege, and privileges could be revoked, just like our driving privileges could be revoked if we break the rules of the road.
That's an incredible takeaway. Because kids feel, some kids, I got to watch what I say. Some children, some parents feel like you're supposed to have this, and you're supposed to have that, and you're supposed to, and if you don't have that, this is like the worst thing in the entire world. I know.
I think we touched on a lot, and at least to, introduce some other conversations that we could go in depth and a little bit further later on.
So, Mrs. Smith, I salute you, and thank you for having this special conversation.
Great.